righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brother.
Pulp Fiction, Time of Violence is a police drama written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, which portrays multiple intersecting stories. In one of them, two mobsters, Jules and Vincent Vega, settle scores with some enemies and things don't go as expected. In the other, one of these mobsters goes to dinner with Mia Wallace, the wife of Marcellus Wallace and his boss. And in the other, boxer Butch does the exact opposite of the thankless task imposed on him by Marcelo Wallace. Situations that led these people to turtles and dangerous paths. Nominated for 7 Oscars awards in Best Film, Actor, Supporting Actress, Direction, Editing, and winning for Original Screenplay. In this video, I am going to talk about the narrative structure of the film. The illusory fat. As the film was made to be enjoyed at once, it needs to convey its message in a more condensed way, in a duration of more or less 2 hours. And even though some exceed this time, the fact is that there is not the same freedom of length as a literary writer has, for example. That's why the film scriptwriter works through clippings. He needs to choose very carefully the moments he will portray to tell his story. And these clippings need to be instruct the viewer about where, when, who, how, why, and what is happening. Or the script itself is an instruction manual for itself and provides information that will be useful throughout the plot. That's why it's commendable when a film has focus, is objective, and manages to convey its message. Digressions are usually frowned upon because they waste precious time on data that doesn't add up, that can leave the plot confusing and unfocused. But there are filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino who understand so much about cinema and narrative that following the rules would be too easy. So he used his cinematographic knowledge to present exceptions to these rules. The cuts he makes in the Pulp Fiction script to tell the story seems clumsy, careless, and unpolished. They seem to include more than the story needed, which tends to create a result that would certainly be more difficult for a generally satisfactory experience for the general public. But what makes Pulp Fiction unique is that the scareness is the cut is just a facade. But the truth is that inside the structure of the script and direction there is also a selection of situations and plot construction of meticulous cracking. The cuts and dialogues that seem to be greasy are perfect for structuring all the big events and for establishing the film connections. And there is nothing left over. As you know, the digressions that are generally such a big scene, here they are mixed consciously with the main theme of the moment through trivial conversations that serve to increase our knowledge about the characters, about their reality, about their personality, and these pseudo-digressions also enter into falsely trivial conversations, but which are directly related to the plot and serve to give clues about the arcs of other characters or the future of the plot. But while we watch, we don't know what it is, everything gets mixed up, and the future of the character becomes unpredictable. Therefore, Pulp Fiction provides us with a surprising, unpredictable, and fascinating ride. That is, if you are paying attention, because the film will need you to connect the dots. As it doesn't always show the connections, if you watch it without paying attention, waiting for the film to do this for you, then it will seem like a meaningless film, without content and overrated. Let's look at some examples. When Vincent Vega goes to dinner with Mia Wallace, watching the film lazily and without attention seems like just an idle sequence. But with attention, you will be able to feel the danger running in the sexual tension between Mia and Vincent during dinner. Because you will remember the beginning of the film, where in the middle of a non-pretentious conversation about hamburgers and foot massages, Vincent and Jules reveal some of the ruthless reputation of Mia's husband and their boss. The conversation about the meaning of a foot massage seems pointless, but it raises a question about what would or would not be allowed at this future dinner. And when that dinner arrives, the viewer can feel the problem approaching each new step in the segment. When Mia stares at Vincent without blinking, insists that he drinks a milkshake through the same straw as her, and demands that they dance, we get the feeling that something bad is about to happen. And in the end, while the scripts distract us with Vincent demonstrating being attracted to her, making us believe that he could do something bad, behold, the one who does something bad outside of our radar is Mia. I raise the situation of pretense to another level because if the possibility of him flirting with her was already bad, imagine if he accidentally killed her. Marcellus Wallace will kill him for that. Slow and long. Slow is a contemplative film in which little happens or full of long dramatic pauses and or drawn out dialogue. This is not the case with Pulp Fiction, which is just the opposite. In a film well filled with actions, reactions, and dialogues, there is always something happening that demands our attention. If there is a feeling of slowness on the part of the audience, it must come from boredom, because when you are bored, it seems that time passes slower, and boredom will only come if the viewer is not willing to read the language of the film, or if they wait excessively a habitual progression of facts, in which everything that is told, shown, has the purpose of being used explicitly, directing linearly, which is not the case with Pulp Fiction. Yes, each part of the film has a reason for being there. It turns out that Tarantino rarely gets straight to the point or delivers the purpose of his cuts easily. It's the opposite. He invests in the direct language instead of taking the standard path of moving the story forward, which is valid. Investing in lines and trajectories, the arcs of the characters in Pulp Fiction grow sideways, and the filmmaker creates sets and feds these sets with information that serves no purpose, when in fact it serves a lot and increases the arc of each character, and as the sets grow, they encounter other sets, and from there, intersections are born, which because a film has adopted the casual and fractional unfolding of facts, they arrive announced. And so behold, in the middle of the development of But's arc, he unpretentiously bumps into Vincent's arc, eliminating this surprisingly in a climatic way, and also ironic, which is Tarantino's characteristic, because he dies in a graceless way after escaping the danger of dinner with Mia and her overdose. At the meeting, Tarantino gave an appreciation, but when the character dies, the scene is shortened and seen from another character point of view. That said, for a narrative that relies on the type of construction of bloating sets, the amount of material that Tarantino managed to include in 2 hours and 34 minutes is expressive. I wouldn't say it's a long film, but it's not short either. Pulp Fiction is as long as it needs to be to tell its story. Inverted chronology. The plot is the story. It's roughly the dramatic content of the film. Not dramatic from set, dramatic from dramatization. The narrative is the way the story is told. Elements, rhythms, form, and linearity. As you well know, the script has 3 acts: introduction, development, and conclusion. It seems that Pulp Fiction doesn't follow this pattern, but it's just another trick by Tarantino to break the rules of cinema. The film itself doesn't just have one arc, it has several arcs, and each arc has its introduction, development, and conclusion. Of course, it's due proportional to the size of each arc. Every arc has its starting point, suffers an impact, receives learning, and undergoes a change. What confuses us is that these arcs are fragmented and jumbled, so some may think that this shuffle happened due to Tarantino's exhibitionism or to make things nicer. If it were for no reason like that, it would be easy to replicate. but the truth is that many try, few succeed. Tarantino breaks the rules, but he doesn't do it anyway. Because narratively speaking, that is the way of telling a story and provoking feelings in the public. There was preservation here of the three-act structure, always as always. Not as always, but the three-act is there. The film itself as a whole does not want to tell the story of a specific character, but a fractional story about life and crime. The introduction, its consequences, which is the development, and the liberation of redemption, which is the conclusion. If you put this film in chronological order, you'll lose this. In other words, Pulp Fiction was built out of order because to communicate what it's out of order, it needed to be out of order. Quentin Tarantino listened to the demands of his project and reversed the order, not merely on a whim or to appear, but so that he could communicate what he wanted with the team and make the right impact. Pulp Fiction is a great film, perfect on every level and impeccable. It seems like an anarchic film that's breaking the rules, but in reality is just playing around by taking walks around them. A film that seems to have no content, but there isn't a single second that is idle.